Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So I did go and grab the game Wesley versus Sam Shankland from round 4 of the U.S. Chess Championship. So for all you diehard chess fans out there, I got what you need, homies, kinfolks. So I appreciate everybody very much for stopping by. Man, all my people in the Philippines, I would say mabuhay to you. Kamusta na aking makaibigan? Let me see. Hello, ulit. Magandang umaga, magandang hapon. It's getting close to getting afternoon over there with y'all. I appreciate you guys very much. Maraming salamat aking makaibigan. Masaya Kom Kid King Muli. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. But if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look, see what we got for this game, son. We got the move E4. We got C5. Knight to F3, D6, D4, pawn takes, knight F6, and knight to C3. And we do have the move A6. So as you guys probably know, without me even saying it, this is the Sicilian Najdorf, one of the most famous chess openings in the history of the world. Very, very famous opening. One of the first openings that people normally, learn about when they start playing the game of chess, especially if they play the move E4. They're going to see the Sicilian because everybody in the world plays it. This is by far some of the most common ways that it is played going into the Najdorf itself. It is very, very heavily played even at the top levels. And so we do see the move bishop to E2, which is not like a real sideline, but it is actually the third most commonly played move. In this position, the top move that you will see is going to be the bishop to E3, just developing a piece. Also thinking if you want to go queen to D2, castles long, just to get, a crazy attack on the king side over here. We can also, and this was my personal favorite when I was an E4 player, is bishop to G5. I just liked it for some reason. I mean, there's no way to explain sometimes. You just be like, I like this move. It's cool. But like I said, we did see the move bishop to E2. We got the move E5, and then knight comes to B3. And this is a very typical Sicilian position. E5 has been played, and that does kind of weaken the D6 pawn just a little bit. So it kind of needs to be babysat. So you guys will see for the rest of the game, white and black are both playing against mostly this square and this square. This one being an outpost and this one just being a straight possible pawn you can win. It is always going to be what you're going to be focused on. But we do see the move bishop to E7. We got castles by white, castles by black. Bishop does come up to E3, and then the bishop does come up to E6. And like I said, this is, if you can get one of your pieces to this square, it is a very, very nice outpost, especially for a knight, just being like smack dab in the center of the board. So black is not wanting to allow that whatsoever. So we do see the move rook to E1. We got knight B to D7. We got the move A4, queen to C7, A5. And this kind of fixes things a little bit. Of course, if the knight ever moves away, you got bishop coming to B6. And this can be kind of an annoying move. But A5 has just kind of in-game implications. It is also trying to freeze these pawns in place and make it very undesirable to play the move B5, which is what we actually see in the game. If we saw it at this point, you would see probably, B5, 8 takes B6 en passant. Knight takes B6, and as you can see, you have a very, very great target here on A6. You don't really have the ability to push this pawn to A5 because the knight and the rook both cover it. So you see that white actually gets quite a bit, for that. And it's like I said, it's actually what we do see. But in the position, we do see rook F to C8. There is always going to be play on the C file as far as when the Sicilian is played, because you are trading off more of a flank pawn for one of white's central pawns. And that is one of the huge arguments as far as the Sicilian is concerned. It's not considered absolute best to push a wing pawn, but, the Sicilian that has a lot of bite in it. So we do see the move bishop to F3. We got H6, we got H3. Creating some lift for yourself never hurts. So you see white and black both did that. We see the move B5, like I mentioned before. We do see pawn taking B6 en passant, knight taking B6, and then we do see the move knight to A5, and this is just, blockading that pawn completely. So if we can get the bishop back here at some point, we do have a very real target. It can definitely become a weakness. So as you can see, black, they're definitely doing pretty well in the situation, but they do have kind of these two backward isolated and then a backward pawn. So, you know, they kind of have, you know, some things that they kind of have to babysit in their position. Rook A comes to B8, putting that rook on a half open file. We do see bishop back to C1, knight goes to C4, and something kind of has to give because now you got your knight on A5 double attack. So we do see knight taking C4, bishop taking C4, and then we have bishop down to E2, encouraging a trade. If we can get rid of this bishop is actually a pretty good defender of this pawn. So if we can get rid of the bishop, then we have a little bit more of a vulnerable target. So bishop takes E2, rook takes E2, and then we do see the move queen to B7. Queen to C6 was also possible. The idea is basically the same. You know, we are influencing very heavily, you know, this square. You know, we are, as black, we are wanting to try to get rid of this pawn. So if we can at all ever push the move D5 and just kind of trade things off, you know, we pretty much have gotten rid of at least one of our weaknesses in a position. So like I said, queen does come to B7. We see queen up to D3. And we do see the move rook to C6, just making sure that we defend, you know, these pawns laterally. We do see the move B3. Bishop comes back to D8. We see king down to H2. We got queen down to B6. We got knight down to D1. Bishop does come to D4 because at the moment, the bishop and the rook haven't really developed the entire game. So it's like, hey, man, why not try to tickle this rook in the corner? We do see the move C3, but we have a really nice move, rook B going to C8. And we have kind of tied things down because if you capture now, which we did not see in the game, but if you, just to give you guys an example, if we did capture, of course, we're going to see rook taking C1, rook taking C1, rook taking C1, pawn taking E5, and then pawn taking E5. And we are pretty even in this situation, but it was definitely a good thing for black to just kind of tie the situation down. But after we do see rook B to C8, we do see the move rook to bishop to D2. And you know, everything is covered, and this bishop is not on and pre anymore. So we kind of have to do something with our bishop sitting smack dab on D4. So we do see bishop going to A7. And then we have that weird little rook lift again. You guys, I think it was 2 videos ago that I showed you guys that there was like an interesting rook lift that kind of defended a bishop. So we kind of have a similar situation here. But if this bishop does move out of the way, we do have the ability to move this other rook over. You know, this pawn does really become very suspect, like I was mentioning before. So we do see the move bishop to C5, but unfortunately, this actually kind of just wastes some tempi for black because it doesn't make a really, really strong threat because of the move B4. So Wesley saw just like, man, just get your bishop out of there, bro. Like, what you doing with your bishop, son? And then Shankland's like, man, I don't even really know, bro. So he just backs it back up to A7. So it probably would have been a little bit better to maybe pick a different move instead of bishop to C5. We do see the move F3. And you guys should notice that this is a very, very perfect structure because black does have a dark square bishop. So as you can see, with this type of a structure, I mean, the bishop doesn't really have anything to do, right? So we do see the move rook over to D8. Like I said, black is really, really trying to push D5. And he actually kind of has a position right now where he could kind of push D5. C4 is definitely an option, just trying to clamp down as much as possible on D5. But we do see bishop to E3. Bishop goes back to B8. We see rook E to A2, the maneuver that I was telling you guys before. And then we do have the move D5. Something kind of has to give in this particular situation because as you can see, even though this rook is undefended, I mean, you know, we are looking at some possible rook doubling and we're trying to rip the position definitely very open. So the knight does come to F2. We can't really do anything as black for the moment because, like I said, that rook is undefended on D8. So we have a little bit of preparation that we need to try to do. But we just go ahead and just move rook a D over to C8, which is highly logical because you're looking at if this rook takes, this rook is going to take with some nice tempi because the queen is going to be hit. So we plug things up with bishop to C5. And this is where the game starts to kind of turn a little bit left. We got the move bishop to D6. And this allows for Wesley So to actually start to go on a little bit of a rampage here. We do see the move bishop takes D6, rook takes D6, and this does a very desirable thing, which is deflecting that rook away from being doubled on that C file. So it gives white just enough time to do what they want to do. We do see rook taking A6, and then we see the rook backing up to D8. And we actually reached the point in the game that if you do want to pause the video, there is a really nice move that Wesley So plays in this position. I think it's a pretty easy move. I think pretty much everybody is going to get this one. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and try to guess that move, go ahead and do so. Okay, so it was a trick question a little bit. Because I think a lot of you guys, and this is a very logical. It's not like this is a bad move at all. But there was a very explosive move in the position. If you guess the move rook to a7, like I said, there was definitely a much better move to play. But I will at least say that you did have the fundamentals in mind. You did say, hey, man, I'm going to put my rook on the 7th. I mean, the queen is hit. Everything seems like everything, right? But there was a much more explosive move in the position. And the move that I was looking for is rook takes f6. So if you guess rook takes f6, then you would be absolutely Wesley so-minded. This is a very, very great way at the moment to explode the position. And you kind of put black in the pickle. After the pawn takes on f6, you do have the move knight to g4. So you have just given up your rook for a knight. But you have created some very, very serious weaknesses in black's position. And pretty much forced black to go king to g7, which is the only way you could protect both pawns at the same time. As a result of this move, we do see the move queen to d2. So you can see there's a lot of fire, you know, getting thrown at Sam Shankland right now in this position. So it does what is desired, which is deflect the rook away from this d pawn. Because as I was saying before, you know, black is really, really trying to push d5 and get rid of his weakness. But you actually, because of the situation, we're not allowed to do that. We see rook over to h8, and then we do see pawn taking d5. And white is just a pawn to the good in this particular situation. So this is a very, very nice position for white here. We do see the move queen over to c7 because why not attack this lonely backward pawn of white's? But we do see the move rook a3. That's that rook lift again. We do see the move e4 with check, which kind of seems like, hey, man, he got like a little discovery going on. But it's like, bro, I'm about to throw my pawn in your face, son. And I mean, that'll block it, basically. I mean, it's like, pocket. I'm right in your face, son. Ain't no checks over here. We got the move queen to d7, and then we do see queen coming to f4. And as you can see, white has literally just gotten everything that they want out of the scenario. They are attacking now both pawns. They got this knight on these pawns. It's kind of like, what do you do as black? You make the only move that you can really make, and that is queen to e6. We got pawn taking e4, and as you can see, you know, we are just up 3 entire pawns in the situation when everything was about everything, man. You got rook coming down to c4, which might look kind of crazy because you're like, dude, wait a minute. All right, did I mess myself up? Like, do I got to go knight back down or something like that? Because, I mean, I'm just getting my rook. I'm just getting my pawn attacked, right? But no, Wesley So says, well, I don't even care about all that, dog. You could take my pawn, son. And that's what Shankland does. He says, you know what? I would take your pawn. Rook takes e4. And then we do see knight going to f5 with check. And this is pretty nasty. We see the move king to g6. But unfortunately, this allows queen to g3 with check. And it is in this position that Sam Shankland resigns the game. And I think that a majority of you guys out there probably are looking at the situation and are like, bro, yeah, this looks like a nightmare. I don't even want to play this, man. So they're like, dude, Sam Shankland, it made a lot of sense for him to resign. But for those of you that are thinking, man, okay, maybe there might be a little something, something. There are only 4 moves you can make in this position. So to show you all 4 of these different moves, let's just look at one of them. Let's say the king goes back to h7, right? Automatically, that's checkmate. That rules that one out, right? Cool. Let's go back. After the queen goes to g3 with check, let's say, for example, the rook wants to block, right? I think you can see what's wrong with this. This is just checkmate. Coming up. After the king sides over to h7, it's pretty much the same thing we saw earlier. So don't do that. After the queen goes to g3 with check, there is the possibility of the king taking on f5. You're like, okay, maybe this is okay. Like, you know, white's down an entire piece, but we do have the move rook to a5 with check. And the king is literally stalemated. You have to block with the rook or the queen. It is suggested to block with the queen. But if you just say, hey, man, I'm going to block with the rook, you got queen to g4 with checkmate. This is another mate. After queen goes to g3, we do have the possibility of going king over to h5, which looks really nasty because it's a fork on the king and the queen, but it is also checkmate. That's all she wrote, bro. So basically, to prevent Wesley So from being able to put his hands on the pieces and delivering mate, he went ahead and just resigned the game. So I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Maraming salamat, and I will see you guys next time.